My laptop actually sounds like it's about to shoot itself into outer space right now. Hi guys, it's Sad. Welcome back to Book It, and today we are going to be diving right in to this. Now, I literally posted a photo today of me reading this poolside. I don't think this won't be posted today, but like the photo I put, I was like, oh, reading my book. I finished it. It literally took me like 2 hours. Finished this book super quick. This is a feel-good, happy book, and that's literally all it is. I liked it, but to be honest, I don't really think it was needed. I understand why other people like wanted it because they loved the It Ends With Us series that's back there. They wanted to finish it. They wanted that like feeling. Not me. I was kind of cool with how It Ends With Us ended. It just ended with them like right into each other. Then you're like, oh, their love story. Like obviously they're gonna get together. This is basically just confirming that obviously they get together. But we pick right back off where Alice and Lily left off. So basically they're like walking down the street and they cross each other. It's been like a year and a half since they've talked or whatever. And she has a baby and he's like on his way, and they like exchange like hellos, and then they move on, you know. There's definitely like the gap because now like she's like, you know, divorced from Ryle. She has a child. We learned he has 2 restaurants now. Like they're both very busy with their lives, but they did like overlap, and then this overlap is where the book immediately picks back up. It's like minutes after they like met, or like met past each other again, whatever. So we get to finally see her like with her daughter and how much she loves her daughter, and how like, you know, everything's been a little rocky because her and Ryle are divorced, but like they're still cordial because of their kid, which is like how it should be. If you get divorced with somebody and you have a child, you always put the child first, but that's a whole different conversation we can have. But it's still a little rocky because Ryle still's like, I think we should be together, and like she's like, no, you are literally physically and mentally abusive, I'm not doing that. And he's like, please. Annoying. So they have like a custody arrangement where he sees her like twice a week based on his schedule because he's a neurosurgeon, so he's got a lot going on. So then it breaks over to Atlas, who has opened his 2nd restaurant, and he's currently dealing with a series of break-ins and vandalism, theft, stuff like that. So while she's dealing with Ryle, Alice's mom like comes back into the picture, and he hasn't talked to his mom in years because, you know, obviously he was homeless when he first met Lily and everything. And she's like, oh yeah, you have a brother, he's 12 years old, he ran away. Great. So Atlas does end up meeting this 12-year-old. His name is Josh, and Josh is the one doing the breaking in and the vandalism and everything because he thought that Atlas had abandoned him with their mother, when in reality Atlas didn't even know he existed. So it's like not really his fault, but you know, he's pissed off anyway. And he's like, I'm gonna find my dad, I'm gonna find my dad, I'm gonna find my dad. But he decides to stay with Atlas in the time being because of his mother being such a terrible mother that she was. And then we also see like Lily, they obviously start their romance, they go on dates and everything. Ryle isn't really too happy about it, but he doesn't really have much of a say at this point anymore, just because like their relationship's over and there's nothing that's really like stopping the 2 of them from getting together, so it's like totally fine. Ryle, to be honest, didn't really suck this much in this book. Maybe it's just because he like wasn't in it, or like maybe it was like the time that he was in it, it really wasn't about him, so it was really nice. But there was one scene where he does go to Atlas's restaurant, and he's like, I'm gonna fight you, and Atlas is like, okay, like literally that's fine, like that's totally cool, whatever, bro. And he and Ryle basically have like a sit down, and Atlas is like, dude, look, like you are a great neurosurgeon, but you are a shitty husband, and you knew it. And he's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, okay, so aren't you glad that Lily's with somebody? Like, aren't you glad your daughter is with somebody who cares about them and wants to be with them and like wants to protect them, but isn't going to be a shitty husband? And he's kind of like, yeah, you're right, you know, because Atlas is right, you know. Ryle sucked as a husband, he basically sucked as a human, but and then like, you know, they go on from there, and he starts going to like anger management, and he's like kind of okay with like and then everything, and that's basically where the book ends. Like, the book really did not have a substantial, like, underlying plot. It was literally just a happy-go-lucky, like, la 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 book. And Colleen Hoover even said that she wasn't going to write a book like this because she didn't think that It Ends With Us got the, like, traction it did, but it literally got the traction off of TikTok. So, like, she felt the need to, like, write a sequel, but, like, she really didn't need to. Like, it wasn't, like, it was good, but, like, it wasn't, wow. I will say this. I want a book about Marshall. So Marshall is Alyssa's husband / Ryle's best friend or whatever. And the entire, like, first book, you know, we see him and Ryle are really close because they're best friends. And, you know, that's his brother-in-law, and they're like this and, like, whatever. And, like, in this book, you also see that as well. They, like, go to the zoo together with the kids, stuff like that, because Alyssa and Marshall have a daughter that's, like, a couple months older than Lily and Ryle do. And we see that's, like, you know, no matter how close he gets to Ryle, no matter how much bro code there was, like, he really watched out for Lily and, like, took her side on a lot of things. And he was like, I love Alyssa, and Alyssa loves you, so you're important to me because of that. But he really does, like, come out, and he's like, when she's sitting in the hallway crying because she's like, I don't know what to do, like, Ryle's so mad at me, and I just want my daughter to be safe. I don't want her to have to worry. This was like after he, like, went to her house and, like, intimidated her, you know, and was like, you can't be with anybody, and, like, pushed her against the door frame or whatever. Like, she's in the hallway crying, and he's like, look, you know, Alyssa cheated on me, and, like, we worked through that, but we worked through it because, like, I'm a good person, and I wish Ryle was a better person. I wish he was a better man, but he's not, and you did the right thing. Like, you got out. And I love that for Marshall. Literally, big Marshall girl right here. Because he was, like, such an underlying character that you would never expect it to come from him. But it did, and that made it, like, 10 times better, because, like, this man literally sat quietly. And, like, there's even one part, I didn't really mark it down because I didn't think I needed to, but I did do this. There's one part when, this is at, like, the very end of the book, so skipping ahead, they asked, at the very end, they're like, before you get full custody or, like, are able to see our daughter one-on-one, I want you to go to, like, anger management. And Ryle's like, what? No, it's stupid. But Alyssa and Marshall are in there, and they're like, yeah, like, we want you to do this. So Marshall walks in, and Ryle's like, dude, are you aware that what they're trying to do? They're trying to send me. And it literally says, like, Marshall stares at him for a beat and then leans forward. Am I aware you lost your temper with Lily last week and pinned her against the door? Or am I aware of the text you sent her or the threats you made when she said she was talking to a lawyer? Ryle stares blankly at Marshall. His face reddens, but he doesn't immediately react. He's trapped in a corner, and he knows it. Literally, like, this man. So, like, forget Ryle, forget Atlas. I want Marshall. Also, Marshall makes hella money, so, like, big fan of that guy. But I do love, back to, like, the actual story part of it, I do love that, you know, they're dealing with this, like, real serious issue of, you know, Atlas is basically becoming a parent to this 12-year-old because he understands the life that he lived when he was that young, and, you know, he talks to Josh about it, and he's like, look, dude, like, my life was really rough because my mom and dad sucked. He does end up taking Josh to meet his dad, but Josh realizes, like, oh, my dad could have came and looked for me whenever, and he didn't. So, like, he decides to stay with Atlas, and I love it. And also Bob sides over full custody of Josh to him and everything, so she doesn't, you know, get in trouble and go to jail for being a really bad parent. But I do love the little family dynamic because they have such, like, an odd group of, like, people. But that's how families are in this day and age. You never meet, like, the families that are like, oh, I have a mom, a dad, and a sister, and a brother. Like, you never meet families like that anymore. You always meet the blended, extended families, and I love that because I have that. I have a blended family. So, like, you know, and plus the brother is going to be taken care of, and, like, you know, we have, like, the family just fits together because Atlas loves Lily so much and she loves him so much that house is going to be filled with love, and it's perfect for the kids. But overall, this book was very happy because there was no negatives. It was all, like, la la la. There wasn't a big, like, plot twist or anything. I said overall this book was a 3 out of 5. I'm fine with it. It's cool. It'll go on the shelf. Smut, there's literally, like, none. It's like 1 out of 5. There's, like, maybe one scene. And then my favorite quote is from the 12-year-old therapist, Theo, that Atlas talks to, and also what was with that, a 12-year-old therapist. That kid's gonna have some serious like trauma to work through when he's older, because I was 12 and I was everyone's therapist, so see how mentally stable that works. But my favorite quote is, he says, "Did you finally kiss her? Can she hear me? What line did you use to get her to invite you in? Lily, we watched people wed. Let's hop into," and then Atlas like hangs up the phone. But I think that was just so funny because like I just did, because I was reading it at the pool and I thought it was a funny line, so we rolled with it. But overall, good book, decent, not mad, here for it. I read a lot of other books, so I'm in the process of editing a video. That's why my computer sounds like this, because I'm trying to download a bunch of stuff for it. But I have all of these books up here that I have to, the reviews are written, I have to like, you know, send them. And then all these books over here I have to read, and I have a pile of books over there. So I have a lot to do. I'm also in the process of moving. Don't let this convince you I'm fully moved in. Literally, that side of the office is a train wreck, but this side looks okay at the current present, so I'm not super mad about it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know what your favorite Colleen Hoover book is. I have another one that I'm about to do on her. I actually think I have one over here written. I have 3 more Colleen Hoover books on my to-be read shelf right here, that I'm going to try to dive into, because Colleen Hoover is a very easy read. That's why I like her books. They're very easy and they flow pretty naturally, and they're, like I said, this took me like 2.5 hours maybe. I read another book by her called Too Late, which I'm going to be doing a video on in a little bit. That book took me like 4 hours to read. So those are like really books I can like kind of get through quick, especially because I'm trying to like knock this down so I can build this side up. I'm also, lol, I want to get through and read more series. The issue is I have so many standalones that I need to read before I can start reading series. I'm pretty sure I have the entire After series, which, those movies, terrible, but I'll dive into those later. But yeah, that's about it. So thank you so much, and yeah, until next time.